To complete the discussion of the brainstem, we have to discuss the posterior part of the brainstem. You can remember that I discussed the anterior aspect of the brainstem. So today I'm going to discuss the posterior aspect of the brainstem. You see, as I discussed before, the brainstem consists of the midbrain, which is this portion here, anything from here up, and then the pons, which is this structure in the middle, and then the medulla oblongata below. Okay, so now if you now look at the back side of the midbrain, you are going to see 4 prominent swellings. These 4 swellings, they are called corpora quadrigemina. Are you clear? This corpora quadrigemina, we have 2 above, you have 2 below. So those ones above, they are called superior colliculi. The ones below, they are called inferior colliculi. So these are the inferior colliculi here, and then these are the superior colliculi. Are you clear? Just above the superior colliculi, you have the 2 thalami, just like an egg, each one on either side. These 2 thalami, they are closer to the midline, and then they bound a space. This space is our 3rd ventricle. So this is our what? 3rd ventricle. Are you clear? By the side of the medial side of the thalamus at the inferior side like that, you have one body, what we call medial geniculate body. And on the lateral side of it, below, you also have what we call lateral geniculate body. Are you clear? So we have both the medial and the lateral geniculate bodies hanging by the side of the thalami. So in between the medial geniculate bodies, you have our pineal gland hanging. It's connected, by some fibers, coming from the habenula commissure that align in relation to the backside of the thalamus. Are you clear? So we have this, fibers connecting or hanging the pineal gland, so that pineal gland is lying just above the 2 superior colliculi, one on either side. Okay? So you have some connections connecting the inferior colliculi to the medial geniculate body. You also have connection connecting the superior colliculi to the lateral geniculate body. These connections are bundles of axons, matter fibers, what we call brachia, singular brachium. So you have bundles of nerve fibers connecting the inferior colliculi to the medial geniculate body. That is what we call inferior brachium. You also have bundles of axons collecting information from the superior colliculus nucleus to the lateral geniculate body, and that is what we call superior brachium. Are you clear? So we have seen these brachial connections of the superior and inferior colliculi. Similarly, if you can remember, we said that the midbrain is connected to the cerebellum by bundles of fibers. Are you clear? These bundles of fibers are what we call the superior cerebellar peduncle, because the midbrain is above in the superior most part, so the fibers descend down to go into the cerebellum. Are you clear? So we have superior cerebellar peduncles, connecting the cerebellum with the midbrain. So this superior cerebellar peduncle consists both outward and inward fibers. That means there are fibers coming from somewhere to enter into the cerebellum through the superior cerebellar peduncle. If you can remember in the previous sections I discussed about the ventral spinocerebellar tract. The ventral spinocerebellar tract ascends up and enter into the superior cerebellar peduncle of the same site. But what is happening is that ventral, this ventral spinocerebellar tract, as it comes from the spinal cord, you get it? It crisscrosses along the ventral side of the spinal cord, ascend up, until it now reaches the opposite side. So from the left side, it reaches to the opposite side. Are you clear? It goes to the left. From the left side, comes to the right, ascend up as our ventral spinocerebellar tract, and then it now crisscrosses to the opposite side again when it comes closer to the midbrain, so that it now goes into the superior cerebellar peduncle of the same side where it originated before. Are you clear? So that is crisscrossing twice. At the end of the day, the original side is maintained. Are you clear? Since it comes from this left side, crisscross to the opposite side, and then crisscross to the same side again, and then ascend up to the same. Are you clear? Yes. That is what it means. So there is double crisscrossing. And so that is why actually this one is just an input from the spinal cord into the cerebellum to give the cerebellum the information regarding muscles, tendons, our perceptive information. If you remember, while I was discussing the premotor cortex, when we want to plan and initiate movement, you get my point. Cerebellum gives input to the cortex regarding what is going on with the tendons, muscles, and what have you. But the cerebellum cannot get that information without information from the spinal cord. So those information coming from the spinal cord, they pass through the ventral spinocerebellar tract. Are you clear? Okay, and also from the dorsal spinocerebellar. But that of the dorsal spinocerebellar tract, they pass through the inferior cerebellar peduncle. Are you clear? So the ventral spinocerebellar tract, it passes through the superior cerebellar peduncle, and then it goes into the cerebellum. Similarly, after the cerebellum now analyze the actual precise movement that is supposed to be done, when you plan and you want to initiate a movement, information comes from the premotor, if you can remember, to, plan and initiate movement. And then cerebellum will now give input. That is the actual map of the position of your muscles, tendons, and what have you. But now this is appropriate and precise movement that you are going to conduct. So the information from the cerebellum gets out of the cerebellum through the superior cerebellar peduncle to the cortex. This time around to where? To the motor cortex. Are you clear? Because the corticocerebellar fibers, they pass, from the cortex down to the cerebellum. And so now from the cerebellum to the cortex, to the motor cortex, they pass through the superior cerebellar peduncle. Are you clear? So you have both information coming from the ventral spinocerebellar tract, giving the actual map of what is going on. Then the information gets out of the cerebellum about the actual movement that is going to be done, the position and the precise movement. So the information gets out of the cerebellum through the superior cerebellar peduncle. So we have now seen the superior cerebellar peduncle. The middle cerebellar peduncle, is the one that is joining the two cerebellar, is the one joining the pons with the cerebellar hemispheres. Are you clear? So this middle cerebellar peduncles, one on either side, contains fibers from the pontine nuclei that I made mention before. Pontine nuclei from one side crisscross to the opposite side, and from the other side to the opposite side. Are you clear? So that they form this middle cerebellar peduncle. And as I told you before also, some fibers from the cerebral cortex, as they come into the pons, some of them go into the middle cerebellar peduncle as what we call corticopontocerebellar fibers. Are you clear? All right? So these corticopontocerebellar fibers, they also give information regarding the type of movement that is going to be conducted with regard to the planning and initiation of movement that I was discussing before. Are you clear? So they go into the cerebellum. So now we've seen the superior cerebellar peduncle and the middle cerebellar peduncle. The other one is the inferior cerebellar peduncle. We'll see what happens to it. So now from the back side of the pons, if you can remember while I was discussing the section of the medulla oblongata at the level of the open part. I discussed about what we call the external arcuate fibers, and also some of the fibers of the external arcuate nucleus. I said that the fibers pass inside the medulla oblongata until they now come out of the fourth ventricle, and then they now come around the backside of the medulla oblongata until they now come and join with the pontobulbar nucleus. Are you clear? So that arc fibers, when they come out into the fourth ventricle, they form what we call medullary striae, those ones that I've said before. Are you clear? So we have this medullary striae here. These are the arcing fibers from the arcuate nucleus that pass within the substance of the medulla oblongata until they now pass at the backside of the postventricle. Are you clear? So anything, part of the pons that is lying above this medullary striae is the, pons. You get my point? So anything below this medullary striae is the medulla oblongata open part. Are you clear? So this one demarcates or serves as a demarcating line between the pons and the medulla oblongata. Are you clear? So if you now look at the back side of the pons there, you are going to see that here you have some swellings. You have some swellings by the side here. So if you can remember, we discussed about the facial colliculi, at the lower part of the pons. You get my point? We discussed about the facial colliculi there. So you're going to see those swellings there. So just at the level of the open part of the medulla oblongata, just above, you're going to see what we call hypoglossal triangle. And so that one is just as a result of the bulging of the hypoglossal nucleus, the one we discussed in that section. And then a little bit below the hypoglossal triangle, you have another triangle. Lifted is the vagal, dorsal nucleus of the vagus nerve. Are you clear? So you have what you call vagal triangle. There you have the nuclei of the vagus nerve. Are you clear? So you have these swellings arranged in that order. Above is the hypoglossal triangle. Below is the vagal triangle. And deep to them are the corresponding nuclei that we've discussed. And so by the side is what we call vestibular area, where you have those your vestibular complex, your inferior and medial, part of the medial vestibular nuclei that we discussed before. So this lateral side here, closer to the middle cerebellar peduncle here, and this is what we call vestibular area. So by and large, if you now come down below this triangular portions of the open part of the medulla oblongata, at the posterior part of the medulla oblongata, the closed part, in the midline here, you will see the posterior median sulcus. If you can remember, on the anterior aspect, we saw the anterior median sulcus. So similarly, posteriorly, you are going to see this posterior median sulcus. By the side of it, you have this, your gracile fasciculus on either side. Are you clear? And then this gracile fasciculus, as it goes up towards the open part of the medulla oblongata, it forms a swelling. This swelling is what we call gracile tubercle. Are you clear? So this gracile tubercle contains the gracile nucleus. Are you clear? So we have gracile fasciculus. It ascends up like that, carrying those informations regarding our perception and what have you. As it goes up towards the open part of the medulla, it makes a swelling. That swelling is called gracile tubercle, and within it contains that gracile nucleus. Similarly, by the lateral side of this gracile fasciculus, you have cuneate fasciculus. As it ascends up, it also forms a swelling, similar to that of the gracile. So you have cuneate tubercle. Are you clear? So we have cuneate tubercle here, and it also contains cuneate nucleus. Are you clear? So by the side of this cuneate tubercles, you have this inferior cerebellar peduncle. Are you clear? And the inferior cerebellar peduncle contains those our dorsal spinocerebellar tract and other tracts, the ascending tracts and what have you. And then they go into the cerebellum. So now we have completed the posterior aspect of the brainstem, and so we give a break. If you have any questions, we ask.